Put in a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Sensitive/offensive content disclaimer. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Mysteries Beyond the Scenes. I'm your host, Joni Skinner. We are streaming live on the Rift Nation Network. I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Come on in, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Mystery Wednesday. What a beautiful Wednesday it is here. I hope you all are having a great week this week. It's honestly, it's been kind of an exhausting week. And, because we do a lot forensic astrology, there is so much Gemini energy in the air. Just kind of remember to take it easy a little bit and be careful. We are in a Mars-Pluto square. What is that? Mars is action. Pluto, that when those two are squaring and they're not getting along, you can have some accidents. Like I've had 2 this week. And I laughed about it because I had a cat bowl, a little ceramic cat bowl. I dropped it in the kitchen. It broke and it hit my ankle. And I had a huge cut on my ankle. And I'm like, wait a minute. Pluto is in Aquarius. What does Aquarius rule? Ankles, legs. Watch your legs and your ankles. Be careful. And here I am telling everybody to be careful. And I'm out cut up, and then I had a big cut on my hand. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm done with this Mars Pluto. So just be careful this week. Should be separating soon. But we are live tonight. Thank you for tuning in. We are on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Thank you so much. Share and please like. Welcome. I know, Howie, it is funny. It is. It's true. Where's Sue? I was showing Sue a copy of I sent her a pic of my wound, and I'm like, look at this. This is your Mercury energy. Look at this. I blamed it on Sue. I'm glad you're great, my dear. I'm glad everything's going well. Hello, Miss Kathy. Hello, Lee. Hello, everybody. Hello. I saw Miss Michelle, who on Facebook posts beautiful pictures of the lovely ocean every day. Hello, Miss Denise. How are you? And Miss Jennifer, how are you? Yeah, I'm so glad it's Wednesday. I like Wednesdays. And there's Miss Linda. I hope you're doing well, hon. Hope everything's going well. Linda in heaven will be at the class on the 22nd. Linda and her granddaughter, and so will Miss Michelle and her beautiful ocean pictures, golf pictures, and of course our other forensic astrologer, Miss Rue. How are you? Oh, and Miss Gina. How are you, Miss Gina? Welcome. And then, of course, Miss Lee. I hope everybody's doing well. No storms this week, right? At least not, well, down in Florida. Florida's getting flooded like crazy. So our friends in Florida, please be safe. Please be careful. It's beautiful here. But I hope everybody's doing well. If anybody has any updates on any true crime stories this week they want to add into the chat, please do so. I did hear today, if you all remember the case that we worked on, we actually looked at Riley Strain. Remember the young boy down in, young man in Nashville, who unfortunately had the accident in the what's the river, the Columbia River by Nashville, and we had all the videos of him, and we did the mapping. His tox came back with no drugs in his system. And remember, people were like, it's an accident, or could this be the smiley face? Remember, we did an episode on the smiley face, but it shows that there were no drugs in the system. Now, he was in the water for a couple of weeks. So that one is still, there's still questions on that one. I don't know. We'll have to wait and watch the feeds and see what everybody says. Hello, Miss Tammy. How are you? Okay. Mr. Odell, Hitman Odell, we need to show we are all here. So please like the show. Hit the thumbs up button, please. Yes, please. And Miss Tammy had to feed lions, horses, and bears. Oh, my. Yeah, Miss Tammy and the farm down in Green Acres, down in Texas. She's got the farm down there. Got to fish there. Oh, how beautiful, Gina. Look at this. Got to fish the creek this evening. Now, in Kentucky, we call them cricks. We do. We still don't say creek. We say, oh, we were down in the creek. Does anybody else say creek? Do you say crick in Virginia, Howie? That's close to Kentucky. Tennessee, Root, what do you all call it? A creek or a crick? We call it a crick. It's a crick. Uh-oh. We call it a crick. So, Rue, she dreamed last night about lions and bears. But Rue, the last time you had a dream about a snake, didn't you? That was similar to Tammy. So you guys are dreaming in sync. It's kind of weird. So Howie says no. I guess it's a creek. I guess Kentucky is the only place that calls it a creek. We call it a crick. We're a crick. So, all right, you guys. No, Texas, it's a creek. I guess we're just we go barefoot all year. We don't keep our shoes on. Tammy Johnson had the snake dreams. That means that you're going to get a message about something. Snake dreams, I believe, are messages. And when you dream, I'm not a dream expert at all. But I know when you do have a dream, it's usually not, the message is not what you dream. So if you dream of like a wedding, you're not getting married. So, or if you dream that something's going to happen, it's not what it means, I think. Howie says in the foothills in Virginia. Well, we have the mountains too. So I hope everybody's doing well this evening. We have 2 cases, and Kathy in the chat. This case in particular, is one to my heart because, we're family. Our group here, our tribe, so to speak, we're family here. And Kathy is always in our chat. And tonight's episode, we are talking about Kathy's daughter. So please, Kath, at any time, chime in on the chat when we talk about Valerie. And I wanted to bring Valerie's case back in because we haven't talked about Valerie for a while. And I do know, a lot of cases are starting to pick up energy, and they're starting to get picked up on the social media. So let's hope that Valerie's information can get picked up and shared out. And I will put Valerie's poster on the Rift Nation Network feed. So please go to Rift Nation Network after the show. I'll do it immediately following the show, and pick up Valerie's her missing poster and share it, please, and get it shared out and get it going. And Howie says, before we get started, can we get a round of applause for Joni? Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet of you. Howie, that's so sweet. Howie O'Dell is amazing. He's an amazing guy. And for you guys that are out there, I don't know if you know or not, Howie is our station manager, kind of owner. He doesn't like to be called that because he's an Aquarius. And, Aquarians don't like to be called like president or CEO. They don't like that. But if you have any ideas and you're interested in being a member of the Rift Nation Network, please reach out to Howie. He would, I had never done a radio show or a podcast or anything before this. So Howie taught me everything. And he taught me how to not feel funny in front of people and to do what I love to do and take it out to everybody. So if you have an idea for a show, or you would like to do a podcast weekly, well, vidcast now. We were on the radio with podcasts. Please reach out to Howie because, he's great. And if you've never done it before, no fear whatsoever. Howie will teach you all the ropes, and Susan too as well. I mean, they will train you and show you everything. So if you have an idea, even if it's a cooking show, it doesn't, anything, any idea that you have a passion for, and reach out to Howie for that. He's great. And Miss Tammy's, oh, there you go, Howie. There's your fellow Aquarian, Miss Tammy. Miss Tammy's an Aquarium. Aquarium. Whatever. Well, you guys, let's get started with Valerie's case. Valerie's case, gosh, Kathy, I can't remember how long Valerie had been missing when you came on the show the very first time, but I do remember it was on the radio. We were still on the radio. We didn't have any vidcasts. I remember we were on the radio. Then we did a couple vidcasts when we moved over to vidcast. Keith is staring at his aquarium. Oh my God. What, Keith? Hello, Keith. Welcome. I'm staring at my aquarium. You're a bubblehead. You bubblehead. But I'm not quite sure. But let's get into Miss Valerie's story. And like I said, Tammy, Lee, Kathy, anybody chime in if you'd like to regarding Val's story. And welcome, Miss Donna. Miss Donna owns the Silver Wolf Treasures and Gifts in the Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati area. Check out her Facebook page. She's got a great shop, just a fabulous shop. Welcome, Miss Donna. And again, if anybody gets any clairvoyant, intuition, anything like that in the show, and you feel that, either just, say it or if you don't want to, PM me after the show. Because I believe in that wholeheartedly, and clues help with cases. Let me get down here and we'll get Val's information out. So Valerie is Kathy's daughter. She is the mother of 5 children that Kathy currently has. And back around Thanksgiving 2019, gosh, that's a long time ago. On November 28th, 29th, 2019, Valerie was last seen in a black 4-door truck. She was last seen in Fort Worth, Texas, after a Thanksgiving type celebration, and she was headed back to her home in San Antonio. Now, I think, and you have to correct me on the name of the app, Kathy, but she had an app on her phone where Kathy could track where she was at all times. Which really, when you guys get more further into Valerie's story, you're going to see how helpful this app really was. And she always had that on her phone. So Kathy knew exactly where Valerie was at all times. So on her, it indicated she was on Highway 173. And I'm going to show you Highway 170. Okay, this area. Highway 173 is a pretty desolate type road leading down to back to San Antonio, where she was headed back home. Unbeknownst to anyone, Valerie was with a gentleman named Chance Selzig. Did I pronounce that correctly? Selzig. Chance, according to the Charlie Project, is a person of interest. He is not a suspect. He is a person of interest. They were in his black truck, 4-door truck. At 10:22 a.m., that is the last ping or note that Live 360. Thank you, Tammy. It's a family app. Live 360 at 10:22 a.m. on the 28th. That was the last she could be traced. Now, Kathy knew because Valerie never turned that off. That was never turned off of her phone. Okay. So let's take a look. And there is Valerie's phone. So we'll come back to her phone in just a minute. What happened to Valerie? Texas, we need answers. We sure do. Okay, there's the road. This highway. I don't know if y'all have ever been on it. It's pretty desolate. So eventually, Kathy and her family traced back to where the phone was, where it said it on the 360 app. And sure enough, Kathy and some family members found her phone and some of her clothing. And there is Valerie's phone. Okay. So, welcome, James. Welcome, hon. How are you? Stelzig. Did I pronounce that correctly? Yes. Chance Stelzig. Yeah. So, like I said, Chance was apparently a friend of Valerie's. They didn't know that until they had gotten into her computer and saw pictures of the two together. Like I said, on Charlie Project, he is listed as a person of interest. However, he's not been listed as a suspect in Valerie's disappearance. Okay? So, needless to say, and you can chime in whenever you would like, Kathy and everybody. This has fallen in the jurisdiction between San Antonio and Fort Worth police. And because of the location where she did indeed go missing. It's hard to believe that they found clothing, they found the phone, yet, here's the deal. They have never searched any areas. As far as Kathy is aware of, there's not been any type of an investigation in Valerie's disappearance. Like I said, Kathy still has Valerie's children. And let's see. Here we go. Let's see what Kathy's chiming in for us, hon. Don't you just love how yes, the 360 tracks everything. And I would recommend that when you, Kathy, for anybody with a family, with children or teenagers. I would have put my kids on it if they were younger. The 360. I sure would. It's going on 5 years. We did the show after Tammy did the investigating. Got tired of other people trying to claim they were looking for her. And, I think too, that's so sad, Kathy, because you can go almost into like a black hole of where when a case does almost go cold. And I think too, in your situation too, Kathy, it makes it even harder because you're in 2 jurisdictions. So it's like, no, San Antonio's got it. No, Fort Worth has it. No. So you just don't ever get anybody to really work the case. And I think, and Kathy says it even tells you when you're walking. Do you remember the case we did a couple weeks ago with that little girl that was in the woods? That was on her phone, and that also convicted a man. That helped convict the man that unalived her as well. Or the apps, the health apps on the phone and the trackers on the phone. So as far as I know, I don't know if Mr. Chance has ever been questioned. I'm not quite sure. But we do know the investigation has not taken off like it should have. So, let's take a look at the astrology of, and Kathy, do you have anything else you'd like to add, hon? If I'm missing anything, it's pig country on 1/7. So is it pig farms? So it's farmland. It's very, very there's nothing around. And she was around Hondo, the Hondo area, which is a very small town. Okay, here we go. We got a question. Here you go, Kathy. What's keeping the FBI from getting involved yet? That's an excellent question. And Michelle says, that's ridiculously sad that counties can't work together. Here's my whole thing with Valerie's case. How many people go and find evidence? Why was that not immediately quarantined off as a crime scene? She found clothing and bloody clothing that belonged to Valerie, as well as a phone. They didn't, and it was never processed as a crime scene. Now, I don't know if that's due to jurisdiction issues. I don't know, but it would almost be like, I think I would call the investigators every week. Every week I would mark on my calendar, Kathy, that I was calling. Every single week I would call. And Kathy says there was a big blood stain on the ground. Now, was there possibly an accident? Nobody knows. Nobody there knows anything. Okay. And James says it seems like the area should have been blocked off. The site could have been messed with before they found the evidence. Absolutely. It's baffling to me. This is one of those cases where a family gets so frustrated. The children, they've lost their mother. And it's so very frustrating for Kathy. And, we love Kathy and Tammy and Lee, who have helped Kathy so much to try to get answers. That area should have been immediately taped off. And I don't know why. And, and yes, that area is in Hondo. What's the population of Hondo, Texas, Kathy? It's very, very small, Hondo. They went down to Hondo. They have put posters all over. They have put missing posters. They've been, the family has been everywhere. She disappeared, hon, in 2019, November 28th, 2019. And the shirt that they found had blood in front of it as well. So all of this was found by the family. Kathy, and then you called the police, and what happened? What happened when you guys found her phone? Linda says it's unfathomable that they aren't doing anything at all. It is. It is. I would call every week the investigators. What's going on? What's happening? You know, and we do know that Dylan Rounds, who was missing up around the Vegas area, Utah area, not Vegas, my bad, Nevada, Utah, up there, up in northern Utah? Yes, northern Utah. Dylan Rounds. They found his phone in a pond. And the FBI was able to extract information, and they even got a video out of that phone. So why can't they take this phone and extract information out of it? That's my question. Okay, Kathy says, I bagged and tagged it. The police from Hondo did not want to take the bloody clothes, only the cell phone. Okay, so they knew Chance, who she was with, very well. He lived there. Okay. I would still, there's a few news links on it. I would still continue. I wouldn't let up. Did they collect her items she found to check it? From what Kathy says, Michelle, they took the phone. They did not want the clothing. So there could have been any kind of DNA, anything still on that clothing. That's a crime scene. It's a complete crime scene. Still there. So this is still, do they still call this an ongoing investigation, Kathy, or are you able to get a copy of their investigative report if it's closed? If you're able to get a copy of their investigation, that's what I would ask. When are you going to close the case? I want the paperwork. And then I think I would take it, what does it hurt to contact the FBI, the Texas FBI in that area? And I would tell them my story. Okay, so the gentleman says, he says he does not know her. We showed them pictures and they said, oh, we can't violate his rights. Where's my baby's rights when she disappeared? Well, I would go up the food chain. That's what I would do. I think I would go up the food chain. Tammy says police departments are lazy or incompetent. I drove all the way to Hillsborough County in Texas for a lead on a missing guy. Bach hit on a spot. We called LE, got a case, and they did nothing. That's sad. No, James, I did not, hun. I'll go up through the chat and find it. I think I would go, okay, here we go. Here, I got it, James. Thank you, my dear. And nothing has been done. Has anyone thought about contacting the governor? I saw a story recently where the family wrote a letter to the governor and he made things happen. I said that I think I said it to Tammy today, or it may have been Kathy. I'm not sure. I said, absolutely go up the food chain. I would write to the senators. I would write to the congressmen or women. And governor is an excellent idea. And look what James is telling you guys. I saw a story recently where the family wrote a letter to the governor and he made things happen. Thank you, James. That's excellent. Absolutely. Thank you for that. I would continue. I would send pictures. I would do a timeline and I would tell them exactly what I had experienced throughout this. And I would send pictures of the person that they claim didn't know her. I wouldn't care what they said anymore. I would ignore them. There was an accident on the way there, but it even notifies when you wreck. The police said that's probably pig blood on her clothes. Well, I think I would ignore them. And about 7 police officers were fired because they were protecting a suspect. Really, James? Is that what? So that's what occurred when they contacted the governor. There you go, you guys. Excellent advice. There you go. James, what do you, as far as that case where the governor was concerned, I think if I were them and I were family, I would do my timeline. I would present the case with pictures, and I would not care what they've said. I would drop what any of them had said to me, and I would go up the food chain. And I agree with James. If I had to go and make an appointment with the governor, I would do so. Well, James said it. Okay, here we go. There you go, Kathy. Here it is. It was on 2020 Hulu. I watched them all, so I don't remember the exact story. There you go. I wouldn't listen to what any Rangers said or anything else. I would go up the food chain. And I agree with James. I would go to the governor. And if I had to, there are victim advocates online that are free. I would search a victim's advocate out, and I would get help through the victim's advocates to help you go through the steps of going to the governor. The police said it was probably pig blood. I've never heard such incompetence. I know. Well, it sounds to me like exactly what James was talking about. Sounds like a cover-up to me. Tammy, that's when you look for the victims' advocates online, and there are some. It is nuts. Well, you know what? It's all okay. Hulu app. It's the 2020. It has all the past episodes. The guy they were protecting was best friends with law enforcement. Thank you, James. Thank you. Don't concentrate on what was said in the past, except when I was writing out my letter and my information. Move forward. And that's so funny and I would look for that episode for what James is talking about and find out what governor. James, did it happen to be in Texas? Do you know? That would be interesting if it was a Texas case. That's right. Okay, and Lee said she made many calls. Yeah, I made many calls. I was asked if I was from Texas. Once I said Pennsylvania, they wouldn't talk. No, this has to come from Kathy. This has to come from the family. When the family speaks is when they come out. That's when the family has to do it. They took the phone and San Antonio police picked it up. I heard that it is not your daughter's phone. It's a child's phone that you just found. I would not release any info and will not disclose. Well, I would move on. And I would move up the chain. And apparently, like James is saying, and what a beautiful thing to say, James. This is your family, Kathy. As an American citizen, you pay taxes and you have a right to use all facets of the law to get things done. Absolutely. And you know what, Kathy? They work for you. You don't work for them. They work for you. The senator works for you. Your senator works for you. The advocates, victim advocates work for you. We have to, and here we go. If that doesn't get you anywhere after you ask, if they cut you off, blast them. Bad publicity. They hate it. And you know what, too, James? It's an election year. That's excellent advice, my dear. Excellent. Thank you for that. Because you know what? Especially now. Well, you know what? And Kathy says the governor had him extradited from Missouri for us. He will not get involved with anything else. I would continue. I would go to the assistant. I would continue. I wouldn't stop, Kathy. And you know what? Exactly what he just said. Blast him. Bad publicity. Talk to your senator. Talk to everybody that will listen, right, James? Anybody that will listen. And, you know, I would find that show on 2020. Here we go. This may even be a case that could be brought to your candidates. Just a thought. I know how far-fetched, but would it hurt? It wouldn't. Go to all the candidates. Find out who's running in your area. Who's running for state senate? Who's running for the House? These people work for us. Go to them. Tell them you need help. And, you know, the best year to do it is during an election year. No, you writing letters won't work. You have to continue to go. Like James said, you make an appointment and you call every week, every Friday at 3:00 to set up an appointment to come in and see the governor. Your daughter has been missing since 2019. You found evidence. You can't get help and you need help. Letters don't work. I've worked for state government for 20 years. Letters, no. You have to call. Show up. And I like what James said. Yeah. James is right. Ask the candidates what they plan to do about situations like this in the future so that it doesn't happen to future families. This has happened to me. Yeah. What excellent advice from the chat. If they make something happen, you get answers and the public sees what the law will do to make things right. Not all law is bad. You just need the right one. I agree. That's your homework, Kathy. Find out who's running in your area. It is an election year. It's a hot election year. They want to be seen. And the governor, you call and you make an appointment. Get a hold of their assistant. You want to talk to their paralegal or their assistant because then they talk to people that answer the phone. And you tell them you want to set up an appointment to come in and talk to the governor. Or the next time the governor's down at El Paso or wherever you are, if you're close and he's close to the area, he's down there all the time, you go down there and visit. Go down there and take your folder with you and say, Governor Abbott, may I have a few words with you? That's exactly what I would do. You find out where he's going to be. If you have a female candidate, that could even be better. Not putting down men, just the mother, sister, daughter aspect may help. Oh, absolutely, it'll help. Sure, it'll help. Find out where he's going to be. Find out where they're at. Find out where they are making appearances and you take your picture. Find out when they're making appearances and show up. The other night, there was it was up in New York. And a mother was up and got on the mic and she was holding a picture of her son who had been horrifically unalived. And she made a point to get on that microphone to tell her story. And she carried his picture. That's exactly what she did, James. And I think this is excellent advice from people. Find out where they're going, do your homework, find out who's running in your area. Put her pic on a poster. That will grab attention with a saying, why won't anybody help find her? Yeah. Take it where they're going to be, where there's a rally. Go to a town hall. They do all those town halls right now. Senator Cruz is down in Texas. I don't know who else is in Texas, but I'd sure find out. I did talk to the police. They made several. I wouldn't care, but that's all in the past, and that's all documented evidence that you have. Now you have to look forward and move forward and not stop. It's an election year. Take advantage of an election year. And it doesn't matter where they used to work. I don't care. I don't care if we just had the president's son get indicted. If he can get indicted and get found guilty, anybody can. He just did. A jury of his peers just found him guilty. So nobody's above the law. And you continue to go. Those people work for us. But those are the things that you need to write out, where you've been, all the work you've done, and you make an appointment to go see the governor or show up where he's going to be. You can't call. You have got. I'm telling. I've worked for government for 22 years. Calling gets you nowhere. You have to set up appointments and go. I've been there. Keep everything documented. Google and search who that person's boss is. If they don't do anything, move up the ladder to the next one. That's right. Paper trail it. You have to do it. That's and I agree with James. And I think I don't believe in coincidences, but I think for James to come into the chat tonight and just bless us with such excellent advice and wisdom is phenomenal. Keep everything documented. Get a folder, get a binder, have it organized, what you've done, who you've spoken to, and then you've got your case. It's exactly right. And go to the governor. You should also reach out to news outlets, email 2020, local news stations, whatever you need to do. Absolutely. And say that I would reach out to local news stations too and say, I have not had any help. And have your book ready, have your poster ready. Why can't anybody help me find her? And start putting the pressure on. What great advice. That's great advice. Absolutely. You have to do what you have to do. Very good advice, James. Excellent advice. And get it done. Make appointments. I don't know where anybody from Texas, Tammy, or anybody from Texas, where your capital is. But I know your governor is down in El Paso all the time. I see him on the news. And I would just show up where he was going to be. And if you're there and he's in front of you, he's not going anywhere. He'll talk to you. Especially if they've got media around them. They'll talk. It's an election year. They will. They'll talk, won't they? Kathy, that's what you have to do. Take the bull by the horns and get everything organized that you've been through, because there's no excuse for this. And heads need to roll. I guess I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that on YouTube. Yikes. Excellent advice. Apparently, they didn't think this isn't their problem. It's your problem. So do what you have to get answers. They don't want to take responsibility. Someone will sooner or later, someone will help. Wherever, I don't believe in coincidences, but that person will show up. And I believe wholeheartedly that the universe reaches out, and whoever is supposed to help hold you will do that. It's in Austin. The capital's in Austin. And James, and I feel like Valerie will be there to guide you. Always go with your gut and your heart and keep pushing forward. Absolutely. And, follow that intuition. Every bit of it, every inch of the way. And you've got pictures of the clothing. You've got pictures of the phone. And take those pictures and make a timeline. This is what we've done. Okay, and Tammy says Senator Cruz is pretty cool. I'd start with him. I would start with my locals. I would start with all of them, get my notebook out, have that ready to rock and roll. I would have everything organized, and I would take advantage of an election year. For sure. for sure. And I would not concentrate on, well, they're hiding this info or that info. I would just say, I'm not getting anything done. Oh, no, don't be sorry. I'm sorry. I'm firing mad now. This is ridiculous. It is, James. And, we see it, unfortunately. And I know Rue is in the chat. And Rue and I do forensic astrology. And guess what? We see it more often. It's the norm. Unfortunately, it's the norm. And it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Isn't it, Rue? And I know Rue will. Well, while we're at it, thank you so much for this great information. It's wonderful. Let's take a look at Valerie's event chart. I'm going to make this bigger so I can see it. I'm going to take a look at this event chart. And as you all know, with forensic astrology and with an event chart, we use the timestamp. And the timestamp was the time that her phone had stopped. So Valerie is represented by Saturn because it's a rising Capricorn. The perp, if there was a perp, allegedly, if there is a perp, or anybody that knows what happened, would be the moon, Cancer. Well, look at that. Saturn and the moon in orange all the way over where you see Valerie's name. They are sitting side by side. It's right in front of her. So whatever could have happened sitting on that ascendant, a perp or an accident, what have you, someone knows. That perp was right next to her at that time. We go down to in the neighborhood, Uranus at the bottom where it says car, short trip in the neighborhood. And we know that happened. She was at a short trip. It would be considered a short trip. Third house. It's connected to Mars. So it would have been sudden rage, violence in a car. Mercury's up there. That would be the car. Older man knows something. And we've got Neptune. So it looks like that there was an outburst. It could have been over alcohol, drugs, money. Second house is in with money. Rue, do you see anything at all? This was an older chart that I had done, but pretty well tells everything. Up at the midheaven, the rage was out in the open. Let's see. Capricorn, it would be like a rocky area. Capricorn is rocks. Like there's rocks around. Rocks, dirty, dirt. Not water. There's no water around. She's not in water. So that's her chart. Now, I did map it. However, I don't, because it's an outstanding investigation. I don't want to put her map publicly because of the fact that if there's somebody that might be responsible for her missing, they move people. They find them and they move. People get moved. So that's why I don't want to show her map of where I think she is. James says, make copies of everything. Walk in, slam the book down and say, here's what I have. Now, what are we going to do about it? James, you should be a lawyer. Are you a lawyer? Are you a lawyer? That's great. Yeah. And I would see where their town halls are. Bring that up at a town hall. You'd have them all. They would all be going. It's a violation. It was right. I wouldn't care what was said. I wouldn't care about it. He doesn't have any rights. Now it's my rights. It's your rights. And what James said, you pay them. It's your rights now. It's your rights now. Oh, James, I was on Rift Nation not long ago. Oh, you were? Which show? Well, honey, thank you so much for all your wonderful. Oh, okay. Well, honey, thank you so much. I mean, okay, hairstylist and drag queen. Hairstylists know everything. They're the bomb. I love them. Well, honey, you know what? You have so much wealth of information, and I thank you so much for everything. Okay, so you're with Hitman with Eddie. Charlene DeFranco with Ed. Well, honey, thank you so much for all that wonderful wisdom. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You guys, I don't know. I mean, does anybody else want to? Here's Valerie, kind of like a little bit of Valerie's story where she was last seen, headed home to San Antonio, and the phone app indicated where she was last, where it last was, and just kind of like Valerie's story. And Michelle James says, you should be a victim advocate too. You should be a victim's advocate. I was the show with Sarah for the first time in Hitman. Oh, I didn't watch it, hon. I need to go back and watch it. Victims advocate. We've now given you a job. I can picture James doing this. Victims advocate, James. It's just brilliant information, it's wise, and it's everything. It's like you said, they don't want bad press, not on an election year. And you go and you don't take no for an answer. You keep going up the food chain. By the way, the SB was just dismissed in January on murder charges of beating a man to death with a baseball bat. Witnesses went missing. What's the SB? I'm confused. By the way, the SB was just dismissed in January on murder charges of beating a man to death with a baseball bat. Witnesses went missing. That's terrible. That's terrible. Terrible, terrible. I'm going to have to dig more into this. I'm intrigued now. Ed has me hooked on Rift. This story infuriates me. I hope we keep updates. Absolutely. We want to be. I'm going to look up where the town halls are going to be around where Kathy lives. I'm going to do that. We're going to do that. We are definitely going to do that, you guys. Now, I had, we'll do Barbara McClure's case next week. This case is so intriguing, you guys. It's crazy. This Barbara McClure's case is crazy too. Wait until you see this. This is from back in 1978 when she was at a disco contest. Now, back in 78 is when it all started, where, of course, you kids don't remember it, but every weekend there would be dance contests because the clubs started around 78. People started to dress up, and boy, they would dress up, and there was disco night. Every single club around was disco night. And Barbara McClure was at a dance contest. So we're going to do this case next week. I'll do Barbara's case next week. Suspect, no, he's a person of interest. He's not been listed as a suspect unless it's been different. But he's listed in the Charlie Project as a person of interest. Person of interest. And Kathy, when was the last time Val talked to somebody before she went missing? What's the timeline between then and when the 360 went dormant? When was the last time, Kathy, that anybody had talked to her? Did you talk to her, Kath? But who talked to her last? Police won't let me testify. When nobody's been charged. Who was the last person to talk to Valerie physically on the phone prior to when her 360 shut off? Was that you, Kath? Like the night before? Or you knew she was headed home because she wanted to go to all the Thanksgiving sales, the Black Friday sales, didn't she? She wanted to go shopping. So she was headed home. But was that you, Kath, that you talked to her? That's okay, Tammy, last person with Val. That should be written out. But now it's like James has said, time to move up to now what are you going to do about it? I'm not going to worry about what his issues are. You leave that up to them. You want to find Valerie. That's your goal is to find Valerie. It's not to worry about somebody else or that guy. Block him out. Block him out. Because I think your mission should be, your intention should be set to find Valerie for Kathy and the children. That should be where all the energy is focused. Not on what he did or what he could have done or who he knows. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Because you need help. And like I said, if they can get the president's son, nobody's above the law. And those pieces will fall in line when Valerie is found. Those pieces will fall in line. She has to be found. And that should be where the intention goes. Because when you have the intention to what he's doing, your energy is not going to what really matters, and that's finding her. Her stuff was found on that little dot on that road, James. Here, I'll show you. Where it was on, right there. Where that red dot is, off to the side of the road, and that's where the 360 went dead. Right there. Chance was with, Kathy spoke with her, with Chance in the car. Okay, what time was that? And it's true. I mean, put the, right, Joni, I agree. When you put your intention in finding her. That's where you put your energy there. That's where the energy goes, finding her. It's very, very secluded. Hondo is the little city that probably has what, a couple hundred people? A couple hundred people. But what time was she talked to? What time did she talk? What time, Kathy, did you talk to her before the 360 went out? Do you remember? Yeah, probably. he'll get pardoned. It's not going to, but still, he will. Clown show with him. Okay, Tammy, just answering James' question. I know, hon, I know. Hopefully, once she is found, I have faith she will be. It will lead to who and what. The object is to find her. That's what I feel too. I agree. When we set intentions, that can be very, very strong when we put that energy out there. But I think look to where these people are going to be. They're all in these town halls right now. They will be doing. Actually, it's perfect timing, Kathy, because all you see now are these town halls and them showing up at these places. And when they show up, then they're stuck. You're there. Here's your book. Here's your info. Who's going to help me now? I need jurisdiction to be settled with this, or how can the FBI come in and help me? And I'm not quite sure how the FBI comes in. But I know they don't just come in. But I'd sure want an answer. But my answer would be right to Austin, Texas. That's where I would go, is Austin, Texas, to the Capitol, and set up an appointment. And I would also look into getting an advocate. Linda, does your family have a victim's advocate? Linda, do you all have an advocate with your case? We'll find out and see if Linda's got an advocate and how. Okay, Kathy was the last to talk to her. I don't know if you're still in the chat, Linda. If you are, if you could, and if you did, if you do have an advocate, Linda, how did you get one? Okay, so Kathy, about 2 or... Okay, Kathy says about 2 or 3 in the morning when she was crying that she might not make it home. So that was in the morning, and then her phone went off about 10 something. Okay. If this is a main fairway, someone saw or knows something. I don't buy that no one knows anything, but law enforcement needs to step up their game. Absolutely. And they haven't. Okay. Thanks, Linda. I don't think so. My daughter might, but I don't think so. Okay. She feared for her life when he told her he killed the man by my house. Yeah, that would be an indication. It was 10:22, James. James said, what time did her 360 go dormant? At 10:22. Linda said, okay, here we go. Now, here's some information. I've just been staying in contact with the DA and his assistant, and they are in communication with you. I know it's taken a lot of time, but Linda, but I know you've been the DA contacts you. Tammy says she doesn't have an advocate. I was wondering how you go about getting them. Probably every state is different on how you get an advocate. James says, do they know when she actually used her phone last? Do you know that, Kathy? Do you know when she actually used her phone last? I mean, because at 10:22 it went off. And then if you guys talked into the evening, and then did she talk to anybody else in the morning? Between 2 and 3:30 in the morning. But did anybody talk to her in the morning prior to her leaving before 10 o'clock, like 8? I'm on my way home, 7, I got a ride, or any of that stuff. And it's in the middle of nowhere. It is. It's kind of like you're in a holler here in the mountains in Kentucky. So, okay, y'all, well, that's everything. Thank you all so much for such great information. And I think it's just wonderful info for Kathy. And, here we go. And any texts or anything. Yeah, any other apps used. And speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. There we go. All right, y'all. And remember, there's still time to register with Miss Donna at Silver Wolf Treasures. The Astrology, the series, still time to register for June 22nd class. Live in Kentucky and Cincinnati from 12 to 2 in Taylor Mill, Kentucky. And then via Zoom, I will be doing the Zoom class from 3 to 5 for astrology. The first part of the class, we go over planets, houses, aspects. And the second portion of the class, we will be and learning how to interpret a natal chart, and it'll be your natal chart. Silver Wolf Treasures and Gifts. That's right, Miss Donna. Michelle says, may she get answers and help that is needed. Kathy, keep hope, Huns, from Lee. And you get so many prayers. Gina, hopefully, Kathy, you will get some help and find your daughter. Everybody's praying for you, hun. Sending positive vibes your way. Hope you light a fire under someone's butt. I'm telling you. Thanking you all for this info. Any links to keep up with the progress? Kathy, what so you've got the Valerie Facebook page? Do you still keep that up and information going? Valerie Ingorvaia, Ingorvaia, is her Facebook page. Valerie Ingorvaia is her Facebook page. So thanks, Miss Donna, sending lots of good positive vibes to get their butts kicking, my love. Get their butts in gears. Thank you. Oh, no problem. I'll do Barbara next week. And then next week, you guys, thanks so much for everybody joining in. It was a wonderful show. I love all your interaction and just wonderful, wonderful advice for Kathy to get them moving and get their butts in gear. I have faith in you, Kath. You guys can work miracles. You can get it done. Get it done. So everybody have a great week. I'll have a wonderful Father's Day weekend upcoming. Have a great week. And I think that's it. If anybody wants to add anything else in the chat, you're more than welcome, everybody. Have a wonderful week, safe week, great weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see everybody next week. Bye-bye, love.